Some pretty incredible news coming out over the weekend that will be impacting Social Security, Medicare, SNAP food benefits, student loan debt forgiveness, unspent COVID funds, and all of this I'm going to be covering in this video, as it is as a result of over the weekend President Joe Biden and Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy coming to a tentative agreement, a deal on the debt ceiling and spending. Now, the text was literally just released moments ago today. Take a look. May 29th, 2023. Here is the official bill that was released. It's 99 pages. I'm going to be covering for you some of the items included and how this will be impacting. We're hearing several different groups around the nation, and they have got to take care of this because there's so many things that will be disrupted and that are at stake if they do not, such as Social Security, which also, stick around to the end. I've got a lot of updates for you coming out as we're hearing there's going to be guaranteed COLA increases for veterans. There's a new push for the 2100 Act. If you missed the speech on it, man, it's incredible. And wait till you hear about the increase they're saying that could be potentially coming out. Like I said, stick around to the end. I'm going to get you more details and more videos coming out on that here shortly. And we're hearing all of this is going to be unfolding for the debt ceiling negotiations this week, because take a look at what happened. We also heard over the weekend, White House Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has said that X marks the spot. The new date is June 5th. It is no longer the 1st, and this is making a lot of Republicans say that Janet Yellen, she's crying wolf. They said they didn't believe it would be the 1st. Now they're saying they don't believe it's the 5th. They said they're going to take their time to make sure that they like the bill that they're going to push through, and then they will pass it when they pass it, but they want to get it done this week. Man, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, but let's dive right in and get you caught up on the latest details as to what is in this bill, what we can expect to see unfold. Now, before we do me a quick favor. If you appreciate the updates, don't forget, smash the like button for me. Just takes a second. Thank you so much. Hit subscribe to stay up to date. It's totally free, and I'll let you know everything that's going on. But with that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and dive right in. All right, so we're going to take a look at the bill here in just a second, but first let's give you a little bit of context as to what has unfolded, where we are currently at with the negotiations, so you know exactly as we dive right in where things stand. So, debt ceiling live updates. The White House makes their final push for Democratic support as the debt limit vote inches closer, and what we're hearing is Republicans and Democrats alike both do not like this deal. So right now, Kevin McCarthy and Joe Biden have got to convince both sides to get on board, as both are saying they feel robbed of this bill. But I believe, and I'm hopeful, that they will know that what's at stake is a potential massive default that will not only impact our nation, but our entire world, and they will get on board to get this passed this week. Now, let's take a look at some of these updates. The latest developments on the debt ceiling deal. President Joe Biden on yesterday, announced a debt ceiling deal that he said would avoid a catastrophic default by the federal government while keeping the economy fluid. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy said at a news conference Sunday that he expects that over 95% of the House Republicans will support the 99-page bill. The House is expected to take up the measure on Wednesday. So this will go to the House on Wednesday for a vote. Now, Representative Ro Khanna, a House Progressive Caucus member, said Sunday night that a large majority of the House Democrats are in flux on whether they will support the agreement. COVID relief clawbacks as well and work requirements for Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Programs, or SNAP, topped the concerns of House Democrats during a call with the White House on Sunday night. More White House calls with the House members are expected today and tomorrow as well. So we will see a lot of Democrats vocalizing they are not happy with this bill, but they're saying they know what's at stake if they do not pass something and get this debt ceiling increased. All right, so now let's take a look at what is actually in this bill. And this article from CNBC is going to be linked in the description below so you can reference it for yourself. And it says President Joe Biden and Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy on yesterday signed off on an agreement to temporarily suspend the debt ceiling and cap some federal spending in order to prevent a U.S. debt default. Now, they have the legislation written out. Congress is going to be reviewing it over the course of the next 3 days. And first, there's going to be a cap on discretionary spending for the next 2 years. You can see the deal would suspend the $31.4 trillion debt ceiling until January 1st of 2025. Also, it's going to be a breather from the elections 2024. So they're conscientiously making sure this goes out past elections, so it's not something that needs to be dealt with during the 2024 elections. There's also going to be increased defense spending. So the deal would boost total defense spending by $886 billion, in line with Biden's 2024 budget spending proposal. And also, the IRS funding, moving special IRS funds. They're going to be rescinding that back. Biden and Democrats secured $80 billion for a decade in new funding to help the IRS enforce tax codes for wealthy Americans in last year's Inflation Reduction Act. Well, they're going to be pulling that back. The IRS earmarked the money for hiring thousands of new agents, and the extra tax revenue they generated was expected to offset a slew of climate-friendly tax credits. This new legislation and subsequent appropriations would shift $10 billion in each of the calendar years of 2024 and 2025 in funding away from the IRS. Also, unspent COVID funds, COVID clawbacks. Biden and McCarthy agreed to claw back much of the unused COVID relief funds as a part of the budget deal. An estimated amount of unused funds is between $50 billion to $70 billion that they want to take back. And as you guys know, I've been checking the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget's COVID tracker. We've got about $400 billion still just sitting there. They want to take about $50 to $70 billion back. The White House official said some funds would be retained, including items related to vaccine funding, housing assistance, and support for Native Americans. Now take a look at this. Work requirements. Biden and McCarthy battled fiercely over imposing stricter work requirements on low-income Americans for being eligible for food and healthcare programs. No changes were made to Medicaid in the deal, but the agreement would impose new work requirements on some low-income people who receive food assistance under the program known as SNAP, up to age 54 instead of up to age 50. So they're going to up the age limit by 4 years for SNAP. Student loan. The new bill would require the Biden administration to follow through with a plan to end the current pause on student loan repayments by late August, but it did not strike down Biden's plan to forgive $430 billion in student debt, which the Supreme Court is currently reviewing at this time. PAYGO. Republicans secured a budgeting mechanism known as PAYGO, which is short for Pay As You Go, that says new government agency actions affecting revenues and spending should be offset by savings. But the law would give Biden's budget director the opportunity to issue waivers to that requirement, and it would also limit judicial review of the decisions. And energy permitting. Biden and McCarthy agreed to new rules to make it easier for energy projects, including fossil fuel-based ones, to gain permit approval. McCarthy and his Republicans had identified permitting reform as one of the pillars of any deal, and that the White House threw its support behind the plan earlier this month. So in addition to this article, I will also have the actual legislation linked in the description if you'd like to see the bill itself. And let me know your thoughts on this. We're hearing that Republicans and Democrats are both not happy, but both sides are saying they got a little bit of what they wanted. Do you think that they're going to get on board, or do you think there's going to need to be several amendments and revisions made? We're hearing this will hit the House on Wednesday, hopefully go to the Senate right after that, and I'm guessing they'll probably want to get this signed into law by this weekend. Now, we will see, because as I mentioned, if they do not get this done, there's going to be disruptions to several programs around the nation. We've heard this vocalized several times by Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, that disruptions will take place to Social Security and several other programs, veterans benefits. They will all be delayed. Now, at the same time, we're also hearing that there is a big push to reform Social Security. We heard that 2023 was going to be the year of Social Security reform. And if you missed the latest video on that, check it out right here. Also, guaranteed COLA increases for veterans. Check out those videos. And also, I've got a new video coming out here very soon giving you more details about the increases that are proposed for the Social Security 2100 Act to reform Social Security. And I think you're going to be pretty surprised at some of the potential increases that could be on the way. And if you're on Social Security, I think you're going to like this update. So I'm going to get some more information on that, and I will upload it here very soon. And if you haven't already, stay subscribed to the channel, and I'll keep you up to date. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.